Keep Right with Ralph K. Ginorio. Parasites threaten our body politic. There has always been something splendidly idealistic about our Western concept of the rule of law. America, being a nation ruled by laws and not by men, meant that we aspired to objectivity, justice, and meritocracy. Our Constitution, the fundamental law of these United States, is at the heart of what makes America great. We have been blessed with many remarkable individuals who have sacrificed their all to preserve, protect, and defend it. None of these heroes themselves alone made us free. Our adherence to this basic law has made and keeps us free. Instead of hoping to construct some theoretical utopia like communists and socialists do, we Americans instead traditionally grounded our hopes in the Constitution. While not pretending to any perfection, the United States Constitution is among the most functionally perfect bases for a society ever devised by the human imagination. Instead of striving for perfection, our Constitution keeps us free. Freedom is better than some singular vision of a perfect state. Freedom is messy, turbulent, and brimming with vitality. Freedom is alive with our individuality, giving scope for us to pursue our multitudinous personal dreams. Freedom, or should I say, free people, do not belong to society. Society belongs to us. A constitution like ours requires much self-control from both everyday citizens and elected officials. A functional sense of good sportsmanship is required, where the good of the system of freedom is more important than any momentary win or loss. Ongoing freedom also demands that we each bear in mind the spirit behind the laws as well as their letter. Every time someone games the system by distorting the intent of a law by twisting its words, we are all diminished. Such idealism. Does anything I have just written correspond to what is observable in the machine politics of today and yesterday? To such operatives, politics was and remains about spreading patronage and dispensing favors. A politician who did not grease palms and barter special preferences would not last long in office in Tammany Hall, New York, or machine politics, Boston. Power was to be used to reward supporters and punish opponents. Fair play be damned. It is a sign of the proverbial excess buoyancy that the founding fathers built into our Constitution that a living freedom has survived over 2 centuries of Democrat machine politics. From Andrew Jackson to Joe Biden, the donkey party maintains, to the victors go the spoils. Like any parasite, the Democratic Party has leached value off of the American body politic to feed itself and its constituent factions. Never in its history has the Democratic Party stood for the average American, the middle class, or meritocratic systems that our freedom provides. For 2 full centuries, Democrats put their fingers on the scales of blind justice to pay off supporters and penalize enemies. They were always the party of special interest groups against the American mainstream, building coalitions of urban immigrants and the Southern slave owners and segregationists, and so on. If there was a group that wanted special treatment and illegitimate favors, a Democrat would always appear to offer a sweetheart deal. This remains true of today's Democratic Party, with its alliance of special interests who employ identity politics to extort privileges for their constituents at the expense of the rest of us. Sleazy and corrupt as it objectively is, Democrat machine politics has been normalized since at least Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Delano Roosevelt intruded the federal government into every aspect of our lives. However, like cancer or any other runaway parasite, Democrats have no notion of balance. They do not know that when their particularism threatens the very survival of the body politic, they should temporarily reduce their selfish plundering. Addicted to wielding power and redistributing money that isn't theirs to make the world a better place, Democrats seem constitutionally incapable of acknowledging any limit to their predations. This is why today's Democratic Party is bringing our constitutional federal republic into a death spiral from which we may never recover. Their abuse of power has induced over 10 million illegal aliens to invade our land, just so that one day they might vote Democrat, maybe this year. Law and order has been abandoned in our cities because the very concept of law and order has been castigated as white supremacy. Environmental junk science has been weaponized to be the pretext for abandoning freedom to embrace communism by any other name. The rights of transvestites are now given preferences over the needs of the vast majority of Americans, including innocent children. Now, President Trump is being buffeted by a seemingly endless stream of illegitimate nuisance lawsuits intended to skew the coming election against him. Coalitions of Democrat politicians, technologists, and bankers are robbing us of our autonomy to think, speak, and act beyond the limits they are trying to set. Americans, this cancer that is the Democratic Party and its machine politics is finally killing us. The rules that citizens and elected officials need to observe if we wish to remain free are being systematically overridden by the unfettered ambition of genuine megalomaniacs. Either we awaken to this threat and challenge Democrat machine operatives as the existential threat to our ongoing freedom that they are, or the Constitution will be utterly abandoned if we Americans of all types and outlooks, including traditional blue-collar Democrats, do not speak out with courage and conviction to identify this threat and proclaim that we Americans can and should do better. Then nothing less than our liberty will be lost. If we do not act more boldly than the timorous and incompetent moderate Republicans whose whole outlook is to deny that this threat is real, then our republic will surely fall. Let's wake up and let's fix this.